Hi friends, welcome back to the Weekly Tweek, a show that exposes what's really in the mug of a late night show host. It's water. My mouth gets dry between takes. This week, Taylor Swift, seen here having trouble with tribbles, girl bossed way too close to the sun as her 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl, was met with mixed reviews from fans and critics. Now, I've never been much of a Swiftie myself. I'm more of a Toth, T-O with a Macron T-H fan, but all the Tay-Tay hate has still been popping up on my feed, yet it's been hard to find an article that seems to side with the fans. Rolling Stone gave it a perfect 5 stars, and the New York Times made it a critic's pick, written in paralyzing terror that they might get arrested by the Tay-GB. Isn't it just the oddest thing that these respected sources for information in their industry seem to be making claims that the majority population don't agree with? On a completely unrelated note, when you go to any government website, you are met with the message, due to the radical left Democrat shutdown, this government website will not be updated during the funding lapse. President Trump has made it clear he wants to keep the government open and support those who feed, fuel, and clothe the American people. In case you weren't aware, our government has been shut down for almost a week now and shows no signs of opening back up anytime soon. Congress still has yet to decide on a budget for the next fiscal year, and Democrats and Republicans are pointing fingers at each other for the disagreement. Both sides have resorted to cyberbullying each other.
I'm going to go search for my Republican colleagues. Republicans, y'all know there's a government shutdown. Republicans.
Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bull.
I'm just excited to see how this will be explained in our kids' textbooks. U.S. History, The Rise and Fall of America, Chapter 67, Sombrero Gate. But it's hard to tell what the education will be like in the near future since the White House sent a document to 9 universities called Compact for Academic Excellence in Higher Education. It was sent to the universities encouraging them to adopt the White House's vision for America's campuses, with commitments to accept the government's priorities on admissions, women's sports, free speech, student discipline, and college affordability, among other topics. But what if a university declines? Institutions of higher education are free to develop models and values other than those below if the institution elects to forego federal benefits. Here's footage of White House representatives presenting the document to the universities.
Congratulations, you are being rescued. Please do not resist.
The National Guard is having a will-they, won't-they relationship with Oregon as Trump keeps ordering troops to go to Portland and Portland keeps saying no, thank you. Here's footage of the National Guard entering the city.
Congratulations, you are being rescued. Please do not resist.
As of now, there are 300 troops being deployed, and the locals have been making it clear that they aren't welcome, but in their own Portlandy way, of course. Organizers for the group World Naked Bike Ride Portland announced plans for an emergency event to protest the Trump administration's deployment of federalized National Guard troops. That's right. Portland is hosting an emergency naked bike ride after feeling shafted from the government. The ride hasn't happened yet, but hopefully it won't go tits up. The majority of Oregonians support the stunt and think it will taint the Guard's ability to work, maybe causing some bad memories for the troops. The Portlandites just want to stay ahead while the ball's in their court. Speaking of chests, a team of divers found over $1 million worth of treasure off the coast of Florida. They found over 1,000 Spanish coins that are about 300 years old. Here's a picture of the 2 guys who found them. Oh, wait, sorry. Here's a more recent photo of the 2. Next, we try to calm my dog down. Hi friends, this is my dog, Jane Fool. I'm still Lottie Hunter, but Jane needs to go to bed. It's her bedtime, so we're gonna tell her a bedtime story. That was adorable. So get this, there was these 3 little pigs, right? They're all brothers. I assume they don't really specify gender at any point, but I'm assuming they're brothers because they're pigs, right? They just got kicked out of their mom's house, you know? And mom's like, go find your own home. And they're like, how do we find a house in this market? And she's like, I don't know, build them, I guess. So 3 pigs, they go walking, right? And the youngest one, he finds like this pile of hay, and he's like, I could definitely make a house out of hay. And the other brothers are like, that sounds kind of stupid, but like, we're not gonna stop you, like, we support you, man. So he builds his house out of hay, right? And then the other 2 brothers, they keep walking. And the middle brother, right, he finds a pile of sticks. And he's like, I'm gonna use these sticks. And the oldest brother is like, we just trashed our younger brother for using hay, like, why is sticks any better? And he's like, because they're sticks, like, come on. And the oldest brother's like, you know what? Not gonna say anything. Do your thing. And then the oldest brother, he keeps walking. He walks for a hot minute because he's like, I'm gonna find a good resource. And then he finds this pile of bricks. Are you listening? I don't know where he found this pile of bricks, but he found a pile of bricks, and with his little, like, I think pigs have hooves, these little pig hooves, he just built a house out of bricks. Pretty smart in my opinion. So now there's this big bad wolf. Okay, you know what a wolf is? You're a descendant of those, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's this wolf, right? He's a big bad wolf, and they call him Big Bad Wolf because he's just kind of like a jerk. So he comes across and he's like, I smell bacon, which is like pig butt. So he smelled some pig butt, and he went over and he found this like weird little mound of hay with like weird windows in it and a door. And he knocks on the door, and the pig, the youngest brother, right, he pokes his head out the window. He's like, oh, no, you're like the big bad wolf. Like, I'm not letting you in, man. And the big bad wolf is like, dude, I'm just going to huff and puff and blow your house down if you don't let me in. And then the little brother, he's like, oh, that's funny, he rhymes. And so he was like going to make his own rhyme. He's like, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Oh, no. And so then the big bad wolf just goes like, you know, he vapes, so it took him a while to get the breath. But he ends up just going, and the hay just went everywhere, which I feel like you don't even need to be like a big bad wolf to do that. I feel like I could do that. But anyway, hay goes everywhere. The little pig is like, ah, dang. So he bolts it, and he's like, I need to go find somewhere else to be. And then he sees like this pile of sticks, you know, and he's like, that's probably where my other brother is. You have an eye book? I'm going to get that for you, sweetie. And he runs in, and his brother's like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you barging in? And he's like, the big bad wolf is chasing me. And the guy's like, oh, I thought that was like fake. And the little brother's like, dude, come on, we've seen him on the news like 20 times. Obviously, he's not fake. And then in comes the wolf, and he knocks on the door, and he's like, ah, huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. And then the pigs are like, not by the hair and our chinny chin chins. I don't know why they say this. It might be like a family mantra. The wolf does what he said, and he goes, and he's like about to pass out because, again, the vaping is catching up with this dog. And then he blows down the sticks because they're sticks. I don't think I could blow down a pile of sticks, but the hay I definitely could. Anyway, the 2 little pigs are like running, right? Bolting, and then they see, after a few miles of running, this house of bricks. It looks like a nice house, and they're like, oldest brother's in there. Because you know how oldest siblings are. They're always like really practical and stuff. And they just barge in because you know how younger siblings are. They're always just like intruding. So they barge in, and they're like, dude, this wolf is chasing us. And the oldest brother's like, and you came here? He's pissed off, right? But it's too late to like yell at his brothers for any good reason. So the wolf just comes up, and he's like, I'm a huff and I'm a puff, and I'm going to blow your house down. And they're like, not by the hair of our chinny chin chin. It's becoming stupid at this point. They all expect the house to go down. So does the wolf. The wolf is like, because the vaping, you know? And he blows as hard as he can, and like nothing. And then he does it again. He goes, blows, nothing. House stays. And the pig's like, ha ha ha, loser. And then the wolf just gives up and leaves. Which I think was like a stupid idea on his part, because like he could just say, like at some point they gotta leave for groceries, right? He could just pounce on him then, but he just walks away. Anyway, that's the end of the story. So Jane, good night. Good night. Good night, friends. This has been a long week for me. Something to do with the 3 jobs I work and the 1,200-word script I've committed to write every single week really made the hours drag on. But between the courses of my overfilled plate, I had time to be out in the world and experience a myriad of things that I'd like to share with you in this segment. Things that personally affected me this week. On Monday, I watched a baby named after a purple flower and was surprised that she laughed at me. Was it my acne, my split ends, Taylor Swift's new album? It definitely wasn't my topical jokes, since she's far too young to comprehend the geopolitical climate of the world. But whatever the reason, this 2-month-old proved herself ahead of the curve, as babies don't typically laugh until they're 4 months old. Are you curious as to what purple flower she's named after? It's not lavender, but that's what I'm going to talk about next. You see, I enjoy adding a little something extra to my nightly cup of tea. And the other night, I decided to put some dried lavender in my Earl Grey. And yes, Earl Grey is named after an actual Earl named Charles Grey, who lived in the 1800s. Supposedly, the tea blend was made to help mask the odd lime taste in their water. Also, Earl Grey himself introduced reforming measures, including restrictions on the employment of children and the abolition of slavery in the British Empire in 1833. Go off, King. But have you ever wondered why lavender smells like that? It's from a compound in the plant called linalool, and I find great joy in saying that word, linalool. If my dog wasn't already named Jane Fool, I'd name her linalool. Linalool is also found in other popular aromatic plants, such as basil and cannabis. But something that doesn't smell good, though, is an alligator snapping turtle. They have a bite force of 160 newtons, which sounds impressive, but humans have an average bite force of 500 newtons. You'll still lose a phalange, though, if you stick your finger near their face. My phalange did, however, get bit by something else this week, a Venus flytrap. No, I'm not a fly. My curiosity just got the better of me as I saw one sitting on a window ledge. I was disappointed to find out that it didn't feel like anything, just like poking a thick leaf. But did you know that Venus flytraps only occur naturally within a 75-mile radius around Wilmington, North Carolina? Frankly, I'm shocked. I assumed they came from the Amazon or something, but nope, they're from none other than the Tar Heel State. And for all the Dynia muscipula owners, don't be worried if it starts to look like they're dying. Winter is coming and they're going dormant. Also, please water them from below they're sensitive. And finally, the keyboard shortcut to turn your Google Doc into 2 columns on a Windows is Alt-O, then N, then hit Enter. That's it for the Weekly Tweak. Come back next week to see if we thought of any new ideas. Bye.